Hey guys, and welcome to the FPL Tips YouTube channel for yet another video. This time it's the Game Week 19 preview, and it's a very short turnaround. We've just had matches done last night, and we are looking towards a deadline next tomorrow, which is Sunday. So Saturday is free now for this week, and then we have a Sunday deadline with more matches coming on the trot. And it's a very important time to discuss a lot of things, and it's just the halfway through Game Week 19 is on its way. A lot of things happen in Game Week 18, few cards, missed penalties, a few goals, a lot of clean sheets to be very surprised about it. Suddenly, we are seeing a lot of clean sheets from defenders. And a lot of things to talk about. Anshuman is unfortunately not here today. He'll be probably be back next week. So it's going to be a solo pod from me today. And I will just directly dive into it without any further delays. And first, just let's look at the fixtures over the next 6 game weeks and how it looks. I think Crystal Palace are currently on top. Southampton at home, Chelsea at home, Leicester away, West Ham away, Brentford at home. That's very good fixtures for the next 5 game weeks. From an attacking point of view, Chelsea are not the worst of fixtures as well. They are a team that will concede goals. They are conceding chances. They are probably in the bottom half, bottom 5 teams for big chances conceded over the last 6 game weeks. And so I think throughout playing bottom clubs as well as good against good teams when from an attacking point of view, looks good for Crystal Palace, and I think a lot of people are starting to load up on the Crystal Palace assets. It was disappointing earlier in the season. I think in the first 6 game weeks, Crystal Palace did have very good fixtures. People were on Henderson, on Munoz, on Eze, but yeah, they didn't click at that point, but now they seem to have been clicking of late. The old Glasner from the end of last season, I think, is slowly back, and I think there will be a lot of joy for Crystal Palace owners this fixture period. Especially if you're looking the likes of Munoz or Ismail Assar, I think they have a lot of these fixtures playing to their strengths, and if they continue playing, I think it will be good for Crystal Palace. We will come in depth from position by position, but I think they look good. Southampton, I think, is an ignore right now. They don't look good attacking wise. They are, I mean, new manager. We are not looking. It's probably set up as a more defensive point of view, but they're really struggling bottom of the table and probably going to be relegated. So yeah, I don't think they're worth investing. Fulham is an interesting team because I think Robinson stands out for a lot of teams. Castagna and Anderson are also good defensive options, but attack is not clicking at the moment. The stats are not great. Muniz scored for them. Wilson scored for them. So it's the substitutes who are scoring, the players who don't have minutes. And Jimenez, Iwobi are not having great stats over the last 6 game weeks. But their fixtures are good. So I think maybe there are few attacking returns, but there is minutes risks highly for especially for forwards that are there which come below 6 million. Chelsea, very interesting. They're on a slight blip after a period of 4 wins in a trot. They have drawn against Everton, then lost against Fulham, a game I don't think they were at their best in. So it's interesting, but their fixtures continue to be good, and because of these 2 blip games, I think I expect them to be full strength against Ipswich as well. So I think Jackson, Enzo, Kukurea, Colwill, Sanchez will all start. I don't think I would invest on their defense, but I think it's a good fixture to play Enzo and Jackson alongside Palmer, and maybe also an outside captaincy shout with Palmer. And then Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. If Jackson avoids his yellow card in this week, I think he will be clear and he'll be playing every game after that. So that is good news if he manages to avoid that is. But I think it looks good. The Chelsea assets, especially from an attacking point of view, are really worth investing over the next few weeks as well. I think the fixtures continue to be good. With Newcastle, I think it's again good fixtures for them, especially from game week 21. But Man United and Spurs are good from an attacking point of view as well. Two teams in the bottom half where you don't expect them to be normally, but they are also conceding chances. So I do think that Man United and Spurs can also be targeted. So if you are looking to bring in the thumbnail man Anthony Gordon, who's finally scored his goal, but he's been looking really lively, I think it's not a bad move as well. Murphy is also being looked at because he's very cheap and he's also having a good joy out there on the right hand side for Newcastle. I think he'll continue to start for a while. Hall has been really, really impressive. Newcastle defense have been impressive over the last few weeks. They've been giving you points, giving you clean sheets, but might maybe it's time to rotate the defenders to play maybe a Munoz or a Mikolenko or someone who might have a better fixture for clean sheets. Everton are back, I think, with their fixtures. So now it's maybe time to invest on Pickford, invest on Mikolenko. I think defensively they're really solid, especially at home. Nottingham Forest is a good fixture. Maybe they keep a clean sheet. Not although Nottingham Forest have won 4 in the bounce, they're not the best attacks. So maybe there's a clean sheet over there. That could be a KG game. Bournemouth away, I don't think I expect a clean sheet. But Aston Villa at home, Spurs at home might also see clean sheets. Spurs struggled against Nottingham Forest, so it's not like it's a definite games where the opponents will score. Everton are looking like a good defense, so Pickford is worth investing in, as well as Mikolenko. Whoever have can play them. I'm playing Mikolenko this week. Aston Villa, very interesting phase. I think after these, like they have good fixtures around the Everton away, Arsenal away in 21 and 22. So 4 of the next 6 are pretty good. So Rogers is playable in 4 of the next 6. I think Watkins is a good buy this week if you have the luxury for him. But Isak is still priority, but Watkins is a good buy if you have the luxury. Because Duran is going to be out for 3 games, and Watkins will want to just take that spot back because Watkins is a quality player. He scored a lot of goals over the last 2-3 years, and he's not been starting over the last few games, which is like little bit worrying. But I think now with Duran out, Watkins will try to completely take control of that. Liverpool bit disappointing. Didn't keep a clean sheet against Leicester, although they like barely had any chances other than the one the that man that IU scored. So yeah, so I think they are continuing to be a solid defense, and I think they will keep a few clean sheets in the next few game weeks. Even though West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Brentford are away games, I think they could be solid in at least 1 or 2 of these games and see it out in terms of a clean sheet. Man United at home is a good fixture for Salah as well for captaincy, because that's week I don't think there are too many options as captains. Nottingham Forest, I think the fixtures are worse than it looks. Everton away, Wolves away. Wolves are slightly improving as a defense, and Liverpool at home. I think the next 3 are not the best, but after that, I think they're pretty good. Spurs again, Wolves are slightly getting better. You never know what you can expect from Spurs. So I'm not sure I will invest in any Spurs assets right now. Then it's Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton. I think it's pretty tricky over there. Brighton, next 2 are tricky. Aston Villa away, Arsenal at home, Ipswich away, Man United, Everton, Nottingham Forest are pretty decent after that. But they do overall have middling fixtures. I think the best part of their fixtures are gone. So there are thoughts on moving on from Joao Pedro, which I'll come to in a bit. Arsenal will continue to keep clean sheets. I think I'm confident in them, although they are pretty low for the next 6 game weeks. I think they are a team that are capable of keeping a clean sheet even in the tougher games. We've seen that before. So I think Raya and Gabriel, at least in my team, are going nowhere. And after that, you just look at Man City. Next 4 are very, very good. After that is Chelsea and Arsenal. But next 4, they have Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich. Very good fixtures, especially from an attacking point of view. So I do expect some form coming back for them. It was another disappointing draw for them against Everton, but I think Everton is probably the worst of the 5 fixtures. Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich. I see goals over there. Although 3 of the 4 are away from home, I think Haaland owners should now hold him and maybe even think of captaining him in the Leicester and West Ham fixtures, where he could be paying off finally. But yeah, I think the patience will be running out if he doesn't do anything over here, because after that it's Chelsea and Arsenal. So yeah, it's a very tricky situation holding Man City. I think it was very frustrating. Maybe there is a case on moving on from a Lewis to a Munoz, so that you get the fixtures of Crystal Palace are pretty good right now. Moving on to the festive fixtures. This is the graphic by Lego Mane on Blue Sky. Give him a follow. He gives a lot of nice graphics in terms of fixtures and the hop on hop off, where you look where the fixtures lie. Something to note over here, I think the Brentford and Brighton turnaround for Arsenal is a little tricky, but other than that, I think it's pretty good. They have Newcastle in the Carabao Cup also. I'm not I'm, that I think they will take seriously. But I think the yeah, and then they have Munich in the Champions League. So what am I saying? I don't think it's that good. Ipswich to Brentford, I think it's good, but after that, I think it's pretty tricky. Newcastle is a game where they'll play. Okay, so sorry, that's not Munich. I think that is Manchester United uh, in the FA Cup, where they might be rotating their players. I'm not sure. Then it's Tottenham. Then is Aston Villa in the space of 6 days. So I think their fixtures are pretty cramped over the next few game weeks. So I don't think I would invest on an attacker, especially after seeing their Ipswich game, which happened last night. I don't think they were that convincing attack wise. Gabriel Jesus had zero shots. Gabriel Martinelli had zero shots. So yeah, I don't think it looks great for them. I think defensively you can also plan on tripling up on Arsenal, because I do think Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, Timber are all good to start throughout this period. I don't think I will invest on any attacker until Bukayo Saka comes back, but that is a while later. Liverpool, I think, have slightly better than Arsenal because they have Akron and Stanley in the FA Cup where they can play the B team. West Ham to United is a nice turnaround. Leicester to West Ham is not. West Ham to United is a nice turnaround. And then Tottenham to Nottingham Forest, assuming that the Accrington Sally game is not going to be the A team, is also a nice turnaround. And then Nottingham Forest to Brentford is an okayish turnaround. So I think they have. I don't think Salah or Trent will be benched in these weeks. Virgil, I think, is definitely going to start throughout. And I think Liverpool do have the depth to play Tottenham and Accrington Sally with some rotations as well. So I think it's good to go for Liverpool in terms of keeping these assets, and then they'll have a double game week in 24. Aston Villa, I think, is again better. They don't have the Carabao Cup fixtures, so Rogers, I think, will start throughout. He's not been benched only over the last few games, and he is looking good whenever he's playing. So important player for them, so he'll continue to play. Tottenham, I don't think is worth investing. We've already spoken about it. Chelsea, I think it's interesting because they have good turnarounds. This is the FA Cup fixture to Bournemouth. I think FA Cup they'll definitely play their B team. So from Fulham to Ipswich is okay, but then Ipswich to Crystal Palace to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth to Wolves, I think is a big turnaround. So I do think Chelsea are worth holding. They have good fixtures and good turnarounds as well. Same with Newcastle, other than maybe the Tottenham Arsenal games. But then they have again a okayish fixture in the FA Cup. They don't have a difficult game, so they can maybe rotate in that. So then Arsenal to Wolves is a good turnaround again. But I do expect most of the Newcastle players to start. Maybe there's an odd Gordon benching that we may need to be wary of, but I think it's good for them at the moment. And then you come down the pile where you look at some difficult turnarounds. I think last week, this week is pretty difficult for everyone except Brentford and Arsenal, who are going to play later on the Wednesday, the first of January. So it's pretty tight for everyone else on this chart. But then coming the next crunch period comes when it's after the FA Cup, and you're looking at some of these teams will play a more like more stronger squads, and they might not have the room for a lot of rotation. So that means two things. One thing, I don't think their teams might be a lot of worth investing in that much. And the second thing is also that the opponents who will be playing against these teams who have more rest, for example, your Liverpool, your Arsenal, your Chelsea, they can be played. I think Arsenal and Arsenal and Spurs play each other, but Chelsea will play Wolves, and Wolves have a difficult fixture over here. They have an away game against, I think, Bristol City in the FA Cup. So there, for example, there Newcastle, I think you can look at it being good for Chelsea as well. Chelsea play Bournemouth, and Bournemouth have a difficult. I mean, they will play West Brom, which Albion, who are the championship, and they probably will play their main team over there. So then for your Chelsea, it might be good to play against Bournemouth. So these are the things that to appeal in this fixture period. We'll come to it more in closer to game week 21-22. But now I think you should expect a few benching this week. So we like, I mean, so just ensure that you don't go to a player who's not a glue guy for a team and who might be sort of risky in minutes. And I think hold on to players who you think will play 90 minutes throughout this period. Next, coming to the Rob T chart for this week, I will be referring back to this time and again, but uh, yeah, you can see that Manchester City have the best odds to score goals this week, which is why I think holding Haaland might be good. Maybe captaining him as well. He got a penalty, missed it. I mean, he's not high in confidence, but Leicester are very bad in confidence. They have been conceding. They've conceded 11 goals in their last 3 games. So I think Man City will score goals in this. They might concede goals, but they'll definitely score goals in this game. So I mean, if they don't, then I think Man City are in a real turmoil. But this could be the release game for them. So and they are projected to be good. Spurs are projected to be good as well against Wolves, although I think Wolves' defense is improving. So maybe we might see the market odds come down given the deadline. This was updated last evening by Rob T. So maybe closer to the deadline tomorrow, Tottenham might come down. You can go follow Rob T on Twitter on Blue Sky, and he will be posting the updated graphics for this. So you can look at the updated odds for these games. Aston Villa look good against Brighton, which is why I think Rogers is good, Watkins is good this week in terms of attacking impetus. Then West Ham, Liverpool, obviously there, 2.55, second most after Man City to score goals. Chelsea also right there against Ipswich. So Palmer Salah captaincy debate will be on. Crystal Palace and Arsenal look good for this week as well. They play against teams which are not the best of defenses and also have a high clean sheet odds. For example, Crystal Palace have the highest clean sheet odds. There's nobody who has overwhelmingly high above 40% because Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City all have away fixtures. So I think it's below 40%. So Crystal Palace have the best clean sheet odds. So investing on a Henderson as a keeper instead of Flecken or a Munoz might be a good option this week. A Man United Newcastle is expected to be a very close game. I mean, so I think you might not expect clean sheets over here, but there will be goals in this game, is what I would feel. Okay, quickly going into a section, like sort of a segue into a section wise discussion. First, just looking at the forwards right now because there's a dearth of forwards in FPL right now. The I mean, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, I don't think any forward is returning as much. Before that, so many forwards were returning. You saw Wissa, you saw Wood, you saw Jackson, Solanke, Mateta, Evan Nilsson, Strand Larson. All of these guys tick along well. Joao Pedro also is doing well, and he's not even in this list over the last 6 games. He has 0.96 expected non-penalty expected goals, if you say for that. So he is some players. Someone is a lot of people are considering moving away from him, and yeah, I mean it doesn't look good. Brighton are not at their best over the last few games. They're not playing their best attacking football that we saw them play earlier when everyone jumped into the Joao Pedro bandwagon because of the fixtures, because of the football they were playing. But I think maybe the difficult fixtures might see little more chances for Joao Pedro, and he's a 90-minute man on penalties. And also that you are looking at other options who are Strand Larsen, Jimenez, uh, Delap, Duran is suspended, Evan Nilsson, all these players who are in the same price bracket and they are not doing good as well. They don't have the best of fixtures as well. So I don't think any sideways move from Joao Pedro will be viable at all. You just hold on Joao Pedro, maybe bench him if you have an option to bench. Maybe play an Enzo instead of him or an Ahmad over the next week, and then maybe assess after that and see if his form improves or if Brighton's form improves, or if there are other options who emerge. But I don't think there's any options that are there in that price bracket who will be good. Cunha, let's talk about Cunha. I think before addressing everything else, we should finish talking about Cunha. He's not even on this list. What is he doing? He's just not had any good underlying data, but he's just smashed it. He's got last 10 returns, 3 xg, 10 goals. He's having a mad season in terms of his finishing ability. Scored from the corner, also gave an assist. He's a goal and assist threat, and he's been really treating managers. But I don't think he'll be a transfer in for anyone. So he is mostly a hold for managers who have because Spurs away, and if the ban does come in, then he's a sell. But yeah, man, he's overperforming a lot. I removed him this week, but then he continued to do it against Man United as well. So it doesn't look great for Acuna in terms of the ban. So I think he will be banned soon. Maybe he plays Spurs, then the Cunha owners will feast for another week. But I think after that he will finally get a ban, which will maybe put him out for 5 game weeks. We saw the biggest FPL Buna magic over the last evening, where he tricked a lot of very reliable accounts to tweet about Cunha's 5 match ban. But that setting that aside, I think maybe we will hear a ban, but I think we are closer to the deadline, so I will guess that Cunha plays Spurs. But if he doesn't, then I maybe do suggest doing a Cunha to a Mateta. So coming back to the Joao Pedro discussion, uh, the only players who you might go up because Cunha is now suspended. I mean, will be suspended soon. My bad. Is Mateta, Isak, Jackson. Isak is definitely someone, if you have the money, you have to do. You can do Joao Pedro to Isak. Nicholas Jackson is again a good striker who's not sort of scored goals over the last 2 3 game weeks, but I think he'll do well against Ipswich. And Mateta is the player who has good fixtures coming up, so he's not bad as well in terms of investment. Other than that, I will just hold Joao Pedro because I don't think it's the right time to bring in forwards. Your transfer holding might be more valuable than maybe spending a transfer from Joao Pedro to someone on a similar price bracket. So, and that valuable transfer might help you make more moves in the future. So that's where I am with respect to Joao Pedro. I think I will hold him. I think I will advise a lot of people to hold him as well, unless you need to go for either Isak, Jackson, or Mateta. And looking at the fixtures right now, Isak is just killing it right now. He's an essential, and I think he's become a proper template ownership right now. So I don't think a lot of new managers will get a lot of points. It's about damage control with Isak. He's not going to be a differential. But as I did continue repeating, no differential is doing that well. Jackson, I think, is another good hold. I think the fixtures continue to be good. We did discuss that the turnaround time between games are good. So I think I like Jackson. I don't think he should have been substituted against Fulham. So maybe Mariska realizes that and keeps Jackson longer on the pitch because they will need these wins in the next few games. Gakpo, I think, is pretty interesting. 2.39 on pen XG overall. He'll probably get a few more starts because he's been playing really well. I think slot favors him. But again, I don't think it's worth a move right now because he's a forward and you might need a midfielder as well for the double game week. So I think the Leicester game is gone. He may continue playing, but I don't think he's a transfer in this week as such. And same with Havertz. I don't see the likes of Arsenal playing 4-3-3. Maybe Havertz continues to play on top and Jesus is benched. But I think Rice, Partey, and Odegaard will play midfield in the next 3 fixtures against Brentford, Brighton, and Tottenham. So if Havertz might find a minutes risk over there, if he doesn't play, maybe he comes off early for Jesus. So I don't see Havertz doing too well, and Arsenal are not clicking as an attack. They're a great defense, but not scoring that many goals as an attack. So I would avoid Havertz over here. Solanke is an interesting one. I did say avoid Spurs, but if there is one attacker that might be of appeal and might be worth keeping an eye on is Solanke from Spurs. So I would just definitely keep an eye on him for the next few game weeks. And obviously, we did speak about Mateta, who's looking good. His fixtures are good, so maybe worth investing in. Quickly going into the cheaper midfielders, where I think a lot of us are investing. Now, given that Saka is injured, I think less of these people will be that important in your team. So, for example, you can have a more expensive Gordon and Eze both instead of the Saka and a 5 million midfielder. So that is sort of getting a little better in terms of templates and options. Actually, Saka is out. I think it's detemplatized a lot of things. But as options, I do like the look of Gordon or Eze a little more than these. Maybe Sar instead of Eze is a debate that's going on, but Gordon or Eze over these midfielders. So if you have the money, you can spread it around there. But coming to the 5 million midfielders anyway, and how has the conversation revolved? Kluivert still, I think it's the XCI is mostly on the penalties he's got. He's got like 4 penalties. So I don't think that's very sustainable. His stats other than that is not that good. Um, and Jacob Murphy, I think, is worth looking at. He has had 10 big chances total. I mean, 5 big chances and 5 big chances created. So he's both a goal and assist threat. He's been returning for each of the last 3 game weeks. He scored a goal in each of the last 3 game weeks, if I'm not wrong. I mean, not against Aston Villa, but before that he scored for the 2 game week, but returned against Aston Villa, gave the assist to Isak. So for his price, I think he's really good value at this point. With Newcastle's fixture reading, Man United away, Spurs away, which are not bad from an attacking point of view. Murphy will continue playing that, and then you have Wolves, Bournemouth. I think Southampton also in the horizon. Jacob Murphy might be a good enabler, a good alternative to Fernandez and Ahmad as well. So he is someone worth looking at along with Fernandez and Ahmad. Maybe this week, if you want to bring in someone other than Sar, I'd probably say Murphy. If you have Sar already and want to remove someone, I'd say Murphy is a good option. And Sar is definitely the best option in this price bracket. He was quiet against Bournemouth, but I think over the next few game weeks he looks good. Uh, so I think he's one of the best in this price bracket, and he will be continuing to tick along. And he is playing a lot of minutes for Crystal Palace. He's very important for them, especially against transition teams, which in the next few fixtures, Leicester is at away, West Ham is away. We might see a few chances given to him. There's Chelsea also, which is going to be a transition game. They do concede a lot of chances as well. So Ismail Assar might be good to play against Chelsea as well. Coming down the list, I think Semenyo is a little frustrating for his owner. He was benched by me last week. He returned, and then I played him this week. He didn't return, but he was decent. He was not too bad. I think there are a few goals in him coming in the next few game weeks. So Semenyo, I think I will hold, although it's tempting to do Semenyo to Sar, but I don't think he's a transfer in because their fixtures, as we did see, reads Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Nottingham Forest home, Liverpool at home from 21 to 24, which is not ideal. Next two is a good, but after that maybe he's a sell or a bench. So I don't think he's an option to buy this week. Coming down, Fernandez, he looked really good against Fulham. He should have gotten a return. So I think between Ahmad and Fernandez, they both of them do continue to be good options. So is Rogers. So if you have them, I don't think there's any point selling them, moving sideways, even if it's for a SAR. I mean the primary thing is I don't think worth make play spending too many transfers and doing 5 million midfielders to 5 million midfielders, because it's hard to predict when they'll get their points. And also they're all getting some points. Their data is not too bad. So I will say that, I mean, we did see a couple of weeks back a lot of Enzo and Ahmad owners had been coming in, and both of them blanked while Rogers got a 14 pointer against Man City. So that could happen. So I think holding these players and then saving your transfer, because this season I think a lot of us are yet to adapt to the 5 transfer rule. Few people are, but this season, because the transfer rule is there, you can do mega moves later. You can have mini wildcard weeks in terms of making 5 transfers in certain weeks, which is gonna be very viable. So I think holding the transfer rather than doing a sideways move might be better. So for that reason, I would say that you don't need to do a sideways transfer. But if it's a downgrade from maybe a Bruno, I think I like Sar. Downgrade from Saka also, I like Sar. So he is a standout, like we discussed last week, in this price bracket. But I would again say no sideways moves. Finally, coming back to the defense, I think because there are a couple of conversations to be had in this. I'll start with the goalkeeper conversation because Flecken has disappointed, and when the Brentford finally keep a clean sheet, he's gone out injured, and his fixtures are next 4 read Man City, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. So worth moving away from Brentford. They are looking a little ragged in terms of their defenders being out. Ayer is also in. Mini is also injured. Pinnock is injured. Vandenberg is injured. So Brentford do look weak defensively. So I think it's time moving on from Flecken. And then there are people with the Flecken and Fabianski combination and might want to move away from goalkeepers. So I think there are 3 goalkeepers that come in my mind who do stand out over here. So they are all in the top. Um, top few defensive teams over here, uh, and top 10 at least in this list. I mean, Raya is obvious, but I think at this point it's not worth spending that money and getting Raya in, because the best of the fixtures are away. I think Arsenal will continue to keep clean sheets, as I mentioned earlier. but you might want to spend that 1.2, 1.3 in maybe upgrading Joao Pedro, then further to maybe a Mateta, maybe a Jackson. That might help you. So that's why I think I would not spend there. Newcastle are also a good defense who are keeping clean sheets. Next two fixtures are tricky, but then Dubravka is their keeper right now. Pope is injured, so I don't think it's worth going there. Nottingham Forest, I think Matt Sells, who's been really underrated this season. He's been very, very good as a keeper, who's kept a lot of clean sheets, back to back clean sheets as well. And they have decent clean sheet keeping fixtures, especially Everton away, if you can see that. And then they also have Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton at home. There will be saves as well, save points as well for Cells against Liverpool, against Bournemouth, against Wolves, against Brighton. So it will be worth investing on. And over the long term, also, I think they have pretty good fixtures. So Cells is my number one. Cells is the first one I have in this list in mind. And then I think there is the other defender, the other goalkeepers in terms of Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Everton. I'd like to discuss about them. Bournemouth, I think I will avoid because their fixtures are going bad right now. Crystal Palace, Henderson is at 4.4 million. Crystal Palace have good fixtures. Their defensive data is also improving. They are sixth for expected goals conceded. They've also conceded only 10 big chances over the last 6 game weeks. Defense is improving. Fixtures are improving. Right time to invest in Crystal Palace defense. But I wouldn't double up on Munoz and Henderson. I think a lot of people might have done it earlier in the season. So if you're going Munoz, then maybe doubling up on Crystal Palace might not be the best of ideas. Then I would also go and look at someone else who is Pickford. So these are the three. Sells, Henderson, and Pickford are my three options. And Pickford is who I like the most. He's at 4.9, slightly more expensive than 1.1 more expensive than Sells, zero point 0.5 more expensive than Henderson, and just 1.7 less cheaper than Raya. So it doesn't seem that big a downgrade. But Everton's fixtures are turning. They're pretty solid in terms of defense. They're keeping clean sheets. Um, and also he's gonna crack up saves, and they have a double game week coming up, and which is likely to be Leicester at home fixture where they might keep a clean sheet again. And last season also we saw Pickford doing an 18 pointer where Liverpool was part of the double game week. So maybe there's a clean sheet against Liverpool as well, because Everton have kept clean sheets against Chelsea, against Arsenal. So it might not be a bad option to keep a clean sheet against. To have Pickford in these game weeks. So I think Pickford is also a very good option. So if price is not an issue, Pickford is number one, then Sells, then Henderson. But if you want to look at the price, I think Henderson is probably the best option. Then I might spend the point one more on Pickford, then Sells. But these three are the best standout options as goalkeepers, and I probably wouldn't look anywhere else in terms of that. But I wouldn't also remove if Raya say. I think if you have Raya, I think you should hold him because they comfortably are the best defense. They have the least big chances conceded over the last 6 game weeks by a mile. They have the least expected goals conceded over the last 6 game weeks by a mile. So Arsenal defense doubling up, maybe even tripling up, is going to be a very important play right now. So that's the reason why I just think no, removing Raya won't be an option. So these are the three keepers I had mentioned who will be options only if you're going to remove a Cell or Fleckin or Fabianski, because Fabianski is also now injured, which is doubtful in terms of people who have Fleckin and Fabianski, and the move has to happen. So that's my thoughts on that. And then coming to the defense. Munoz, I think, will be the most popular transfer this week because of the change in fixtures. He's very attacking. So we all like attacking defenders. Lewis Hall has done good, decent recently. Although he didn't keep clean sheets, Aitnuri had a couple of attacking returns over the last 8 game weeks. We saw Robinson having a lot of attacking returns over the last few game weeks, as well as coming to who's the fourth one who I was trying to think of. Even Kirkes. I think Kirkes also has had a few attacking returns, and all of these are good defenses. They're top 10 defense, capable of keeping clean sheets on their day. So same as Crystal Palace. I think right now Munoz will be getting more attacking returns in the next few game weeks. He scored a couple of goals against Newcastle and Man City over the last 6 game weeks. And then his attacking numbers are good. His attacking position is very good. Glasner is very high in praise in terms of Munoz's positioning. He is very, very involved on the right flank for Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace look good. Munoz looks good. I think he'll be the best defender to bring in this week over even an Arsenal defender or any other defender. So I think the best transfer in this week is Munoz. Even Trent, I think I will hold off for another week. I think and bring in Munoz ahead of him. But I think you should not invest too many defensive transfers. So maybe going ahead with a Trent before Munoz might also be fine. And Liverpool defense is also something that you can count on. They will keep clean sheets over the next few game weeks. Slot did mention that this I mean, first few game weeks they were conceding chances, a few chances. They were not conceding goals. Now they are conceding a few chances, but they're conceding goals. But I think that will switch again. I think they will become more solid. Konate will be back as well soon, so that will help Liverpool in terms of keeping clean sheets, and he might become an option too. So at this point of time, I think Liverpool do look good for clean sheets, and I think they are worth investing. And definitely Arsenal. I think a lot of teams should have a double up, if not a triple up. There is a room that is open right now because of the absence of Saka and absence of good attacking options that you can go on a triple Arsenal defense, which I don't hate the idea as well, because their difficult away fixtures is where historically we've seen Arteta keep clean sheets. So I think that that is worth discussing as well. In terms of other defense, I think Everton are good to play this week. Nottingham Forest at home. Instead of Hall, I'm probably playing Mikolenko. So they are pretty good, and you can maybe hold your Mikolenko because of the double game week coming. Uh, and then finally addressing the transfers out in terms of defense, I think a lot of people will have Chelsea and Man City defenders, and also Brentford defenders who are in the bottom of this pile. Um and I think the Lewis is a priority sell. Chelsea defenders might need not be a priority sell, um, and Guardiola might be good because Guardiola is looking much more attacking than Lewis. So he's worth the price and he's worth holding for Leicester if you have Guardiola. But Lewis, I think it's time to sell him because it's very disappointing. Man City are in terms of conceding chances, conceding goals, and Lewis has not been good as well. For Chelsea, I think they are also conceding chances. They've conceded 16 big chances, which is the third. They've conceded 21 big chances, which is the fourth most in this group of teams over the last 6 game weeks, which is a lot. And I think that's the part of concern with Chelsea. They'll probably concede a goal in every game. So I think a Colwell, although he gave an attacking return in against Fulham, might not be worth investing at this point. I think going to a Munoz, going to a Robinson might be better options over there. So that is with Chelsea's defense. So I think overall, summing up, Arsenal probably is the best. Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Everton are good defense to invest on. Even Nottingham Forest, I think, forgot to mention about them. Ola Aina has looked very, very good. Milinkovic and Murillo is a very good partnership for them and it's working well. So Nottingham Forest is a good team to invest on as well. Newcastle not yet. Maybe a couple of weeks later, if Hall continues to be a good option. Botman is also probably back, and at that point, we'll see what the team changes into, and then sort of invest into him. So that is with Lewis Hall and Newcastle. But right now, it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Everton, and Nottingham Forest. I think there are the top five defensive assets to invest in, and Arsenal are by and far the best in terms of the defense to invest in right now. Finally, coming to the teams. This is Anshuman's team. This game week, he has Fabianski and Flecken both in goal. So he's going to be making a transfer of Flecken to Pickford, is what I hear from him. And then his defense is Guardiol, Timber, Gabriel. So Guardiol, maybe if he can find a goal or two coming soon, because he's looking very, very attacking. He's looking great positions. He's a very good header of the ball, and his movement is also very good. So he might get a few goals. Timber, Gabriel, very good Arsenal defense double up. Rogers, Palmer, Sar, Salah, Enzo. I think it's a great midfield five. And Isak, Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus was a little concerning. Maybe he doesn't get a start, but yeah, I think that's where he is right now. And he has Evan Nilsson on his bench, Mikolenko and Greaves. So I think he's benching Evan Nilsson this week against Fulham. Coming to my team, I have Ryan goal, Mikolenko, Gabriel, and Trent. I'm playing Mikolenko over Hall because he probably have the higher chance of keeping a clean sheet. I'll maybe give a thought about it later because Man United are worse than Nottingham Forest, but I just feel like the home fixture for Everton is good. Salah captaincy, I'll come to captaincy just in a while. Palmer, Rogers, Semenyo, then Isak, Fabinho, Sterling, Matic, Matic, and because I mean last week was a little disappointing with the red card when I've just brought him in, but I think long term I think I'll just hold him and then see, because I want to keep the transfers handy. I'm not going to do Semenyo to Sar, even though that's tempting, but over the long term I think I like having more transfers in my team. I will start Joao Pedro. Maybe I see if he gets a goal or not. So this is going to be my team for this week. Maybe it's not the best of teams for this week, but yeah, I mean we roll the transfer and keep going. Uh, Coming to the final captaincy discussion, Salah is captain for Anshuman as well right now in his bus team, and Salah is captain for me as well right now, because West Ham don't probably not going to have Sushek, they're not going to have Guido Rodriguez, they're not probably not going to have Soler as well, so they need to mix their midfield that they had played, and also they won't have Fabianski and Kilman, so they have a lot of issues over there to sort. And I think Salah is currently in incredible form that you just can't back against him for this week. Chelsea have few doubts. Maybe there is a share of goals. Maybe this game might suit Jackson a little more. So I just think Salah is a better captain this week over Palmer. Has a very good fixture, has probably the better fixture on paper, but West Ham do have problems in their team. So and they didn't look great against Southampton. So I think Salah is going to be my captain, and I'm not going to think too much about it. And I will also advise Salah being the best captain for this game week. And that brings us to the end of the video. Please hit the like, share, subscribe if you did like the video. And yeah, I think we are sort of getting little regular with our game week preview pods at least, and we'll continue to at least do one pod a week, discussing about the transfers, discussing about what is happening, and other things. So we'll try to be more regular. So I think you'll get your content in this channel, and also head over to our Instagram where we post a lot of information throughout the week. If you like to follow us there, you'll get a lot of tips over what to do in FPL, and also please do, as I did mention, support us in this channel, and we'll come back with more videos. Until then, signing off from the FPL Tips YouTube channel. This is Akhilesh. Cheers.